Mission impossible deciding between George Kittle and Darren Waller. We're going to try right now on Fantasy Football Today in 5. Well, it's impossible for me. I really struggle with this one, Heath. Where are you on this tight end debate?
I don't even have these guys back-to-back in my tight end rankings. It's that easy to decide. I am going with Darren Waller. I am less concerned about the targets that Davante Adams is going to take away as I am about the targets that Trey Lance is going to take away. I think that there's a real risk that San Francisco throws the ball like a Jalen Hurts or Philadelphia Eagles type 490 pass attempts type season, and he has to commit with or fight with Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel for targets. So I'm more worried about Kittle's floor than I am Waller's, and I think they have honestly, I think Waller has a higher upside too.
I agree. I think that's it for today. I'm taking Waller ahead of Kittle because I just don't love the situation for Kittle. He's injury prone and he has Trey Lance and a lot of competition. But look, Waller missed more games last year than Kittle. And here's this: George Kittle, to argue for him, has been a top 4 tight end in non-PPR and a top 3 tight end in full PPR on a per game basis in 4 straight seasons. In 3 of the last 4 seasons, he has played 14 or more games and finished as a top 4 tight end. So that's a much better resume than Darren Waller, who just last year was tight end 8 per game in non-PPR and 6 per game in full PPR. He did have a very low touchdown rate. He only scored 2 in 11 games. But I also think I've pointed this out that when Ruggs was there, the production was down other than week 1 when he had, I think, 20 targets. Next 5 games weren't so great for Waller. When Ruggs wasn't there, things got a lot better for him. Ruggs didn't get nearly as many targets as Davante Adams is going to get. So I think the argument for Kittle is that he has been better. He's consistently, like I said, 4 straight years as a top 4 tight end per game. It's amazing. And he's played 14 or more games in 3 of the last 4 seasons. So maybe the health thing is a little overblown. I think you could just say the opposite of what he said, that Davante Adams will be a bigger hindrance to Waller than Lance will be to Kittle.
Yeah, and I just expect that Adams is going to crush Hunter Renfrow instead of Darren Waller. But also, I think if you were on the Darren Waller side, then when you were citing last year's stats, you would have now the game Waller only played 24% of the snaps, and then he wouldn't have been the number 6 tight end on a per game basis last year in PPR. He would have been top 3.
Well, that does hurt my argument. Yeah, I didn't do that. It would have been top 3.
I'm doing this by the seat of my pants, but I will get you the exact.
Yeah, you can't throw that out there by the seat of your pants.
Oh, you do that all the time. This was an unconfirmed Azer stat.
And you have to say that. You have to say, as long as you say it's unconfirmed, then it's totally fine. You've also had these pockets of inconsistency with Darren Waller. To be honest with you, I don't really find myself drafting either of these guys that much. Do you?
I would not take either of them before round 5. And so, a lot of times they go in round 4, but it is way more likely that I find these guys, that I'm drafting these guys than I do Kyle Pitts in round 3. So it was 13.2 fantasy points per game for Darren Waller weeks 1 through 10.
Okay.
Over the course of the season, 13.2 fantasy points per game probably would have made him tight end 4.
George Kittle was at 14.3, and Gronkowski was also at 14.3. So that would have made him number 5. So Kittle was still a point better than him per game. And I don't know if Kittle left any games early. He may have.
I just looked. He was basically at 90% on every game he played.
Okay. All right. So, we like Waller, but Kittle's resume is really, really impressive. It is just hard to get away from how incredible of a player he has been, even though he's never had more than 6 touchdown catches in a season. And maybe it is a Trey Lance versus Davante Adams arguments in a kind of separate way. But all right, thanks to Heath Cummings and to all of you for watching and listening. This is Fantasy Football Today in 5. We'll do a quarterback debate tomorrow.